So for whatever reason, VTubers are popping off ever since we found out that Trunk is actually the very first historical user to use Ultra Instinct. All that and more in today's video.
8 hours, especially on Twitter. It's been an eye-opening experience where we've seen people go completely mask off over an event relating to American politics. Now, what was that event? Well, very quickly to summarize, on Saturday, there was an assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Miraculously, he would only be grazed in the ear by one of the bullets, and the shooter was immediately dispatched. However, the unfortunate news is that an innocent bystander had their life taken by a stray bullet. Now,
yeah, and it's insane to me because, like, I don't know if you guys, well, I'm sure you guys know who Destiny is, but, like, I'm sure he's not the only YouTuber. There's probably a lot of people, or a lot of people who are a lot much smarter because they didn't say this online, but they're like, oh yeah, the firefighter that got shot, well, he's a Trump supporter, so it doesn't matter. Bro, at the end of the day, it's a human life of a person who technically didn't do anything wrong. He was an innocent bystander, and you're like, oh, well, he was in the crowd of a Trump rally, so cool. That's fine. And honestly, this kind of type of behavior, and first of all, I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm not a Biden supporter, no blue, but I'm not a Trump supporter. I think that an innocent bystander being shot, not cool. Even if I didn't like the guy, I still don't think that deserves to happen.
The reaction to this on social media, Twitter in particular, has been absolutely disgusting. And as Chibi Reviews here points out, it has been an eye-opening experience to see how many people lack a moral compass. People on Twitter were glorifying and encouraging acts of violence like we saw on Saturday against people who they have different political views than. It is
honestly the most surprising thing is the fact that people are surprised that people on Twitter are trash, right? I mean, like, think of the kind of people that are just tweeting out every single thought they have of every single minute every day. Now, obviously, that is not a representation of everyone, but, like, why are you discussing your political beliefs on Twitter of all platforms? We have, like, a limit. I think it's 150 characters. It's not the place for, like, constructive conversations and debating, but then again, that's why you go to Twitter. You go to Twitter so you can get angry and
absolutely disgusting what people are saying, and it's from all over, all walks of life. People are saying these crazy things. You have people even like Jack Black saying next time the shooter better not miss. And yesterday I spent some time and talked about what's going on in the VTuber scene. A lot of people were making various comments in the VTubing scene about this event. Very disgusting comments. We saw some mainly from Tricky, but we covered some other VTubers as well. And today we're going to do just that. We're going to keep looking at more VTubers saying this stuff, and also look at some members of the game industry as well as game journalists who are saying similar things about this event. And before we get into the new examples, I just want to really reflect here for a second. I spent a lot of time going through the comments of this video, and I have to say I am very, very impressed with how people reacted to this video. I am happy to see people from all ends of the political spectrum, people from all walks of life, coming together and realizing that glorifying and encouraging violence over politics is too far. And I'm glad people got there and made that realization together, but I'm not surprised that people were doing that in the comments of my video. So what did we talk about? Well, a lot of VTubers, like these ones right here, making disgusting comments about the situation. However, today we're going to focus on a new one from a VTuber named Pepper.
You know, it's easy to make these kind of claims when no one can see.
So what is Pepper up to? Well, she made this tweet saying this. Oh, right, since my timeline won't stop and I just saw a similar post, I want to say something about that assassination attempt yesterday. I think they should have had better aim. I'm all for game-ending people who shouldn't be in power. We British people have done similar many times. So
that is wild to me. That is wild that someone can just go and be like, oh yeah, the shooter should have a better aim. Now, I'm a huge advocate for free speech, and I think that she should be allowed to say this. Actually, she is 100% in her right to say this, but you have to understand that it's going to come with consequences if you say something like that. I would not be surprised if they pulled advertisers, if her Twitter is monetized to begin with. I don't know if it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if she lost advertisers for things like that, because by saying something like this, you are borderline, right? Borderline advocating for violence. you are borderline telling people, yo, I'm not saying you should go and do it, but I'm not going to be mad if you did. And like it's a very, very thin line between free speech and now you're just straight up advocating for violence, which I don't think is okay. And I think that these people should be held accountable for basically advocating for violence towards a political member, because this type of behavior is only going to propagate more and more extreme behavior from people. I am sure after this attempt, we're probably going to see more attempts in the coming years. Like I'm talking about like 10, 15, 20 years from now, we're going to see more assassination attempts. Can I say that on YouTube? Whatever. We're going to see more of these attempts happen on YouTube. We're going to see more of these attempts happen in the real world because a bunch of people are happy that it's happened and they're advocating for it. And the people that are advocating for it are, to my knowledge, are not being held accountable. This only ends in one way. And I can promise you, no one is going to be a
person is openly saying that not only should Donald Trump have been actually assassinated on Saturday, they're also saying they are all for game-ending people that they believe shouldn't be in power. Totally mask off. And they would go even further saying this. Basically, I'm saying some people deserve it. Project 2025 could harm Americans a lot. For one, they want to take away women's rights to vote and ban abortions nationwide from what I've seen. And God...
They want to take away women's right to vote? Let me see. I'm going through this stuff, and I mean, there is a 920-page document, which I'm not going to read. But so far, I haven't seen anything about voting. There is stuff about abortion, LGBT rights, and that kind of stuff, but nothing about voting. Project 2025 envisions the rights of same-sex marriage, plans called New Will and Jasmine's marry nuclear family, Project 25 transgender ideology. Yeah, so I don't really see anything in Project 2025 that is going to remove women's right to vote. If you guys want to read the 920-page document, be my guest and let me know in the comment section down below.
We've fought enough to have it. If it happens, I will go over there and help myself. This is absolutely insane. People like this are so delusional and their worldview is so delusional that they're living in an episode of The Handmaid's Tale, okay? They really think these things are going to happen, that women are going to lose their right to vote if Donald Trump is elected president. That is absolutely insane. And also this mention of Project 2025, I just want to share this funny DM I got. Some people were a little angry about my video yesterday. You know, the video where I condemned political violence. This person said, bro, F you, hypocrite, and F Project 2025, effing Nazi. You make lolicons look like garbage. As a left-wing lolicon myself. Wow, thanks for sharing all of that.
Bro, you're not supposed to find lolicons attractive.
Yeah, that's a new one. I've been called a Nazi for 5,000 different reasons that don't make any sense, but hey, at least this one's a new one, right? Condemning political violence is apparently a core tenet of the Nazi party. But anyways, back to the VTuber in question here, Pepper. The only thing they would actually respond to when they were being very heavily criticized for their comments about the situation, this was the only thing they replied to. Someone calling them fat. That was the only thing they felt was important enough to respond to by showing a picture of themselves.
Well, that's the only thing that is important. She needs to defend her pride, right? She doesn't care if people attack her words or use logic, because if you start thinking critically about your own opinions, you have to find out that you're wrong. You often find out that you're wrong. Why? Because you're on the extreme of whichever side. Whichever side you're on, if you're on the extreme, right, left, Democrat, Republican, whatever you want to call it, if you are in the extreme of any side and you use a fraction of your brain power to think critically about what you're actually saying, you will find out you're wrong. Which is why she responded to the, oh, I bet you're fat. Well, I can prove this without having to use my brain. I just need to put a picture and then we can argue about whether I'm fat or not. And now people are no longer going to argue about what I said. And now people are going to start arguing about the way I look.
To disprove that. They don't care that they're being labeled as this crazy person who's encouraging violence against people they don't politically agree with. They're concerned about how people view their physical appearance. That is absolutely insane. And like I said, we're going to see many different people from all walks of life getting in trouble for this stuff. Let's focus on a new person. This post made by Mark Kern saying, brand ambassador for Smite encouraged Trump shooter to try again since taken down, and defends her belief that the assassination attempt was faked. Yes, I don't know what it is about brand ambassadors. It's always ambassadors to whether it's Twitch, games, what have you, who say the most unhinged stuff with this label in their bio. It's like showing up to a public space wearing your work uniform and then saying a bunch of crazy stuff. It is a terrible idea. But here's what they said.
Bro, this girl is gonna ruin her life. Did you see how many partners she's with? Smite Gaming, Horizon Union, G Fuel Energy partner, Samsung US partner. It's like you could lose out so she could ruin her life so quickly for running her mouth like that. Honestly, this is just dumb. It's just dumb, poor behavior. People are not thinking. It's like they think that because they're on Twitter there are no consequences. Bro, if I'm your employer and I see that you're posting stuff like that or you're partnering with me, I am terminating your contract so fast because I do not want bad press. I do not want bad press, and what she's doing right now is
terrible idea. But here's what they said. In a now deleted tweet, they said, if at first you don't succeed, ... a very unsubtle encouragement of people doing more violent acts like they did on Saturday. And then they said this is so staged though, and going to be very effective, which is a straight up conspiracy theory. This is straight up misinformation. Like, this is crazy that they would say this. But they would go further and say, to be 100% clear, I absolutely believe the target of today's shooting would sacrifice his own supporters to further his candidacy. I think that is the ultimate tragedy behind the Trump grift. He does not care about the people who have made him who he is. At the time,
Oh, and Biden does? It's like, it's crazy to me that every month of June, all the companies start having these gay flags and these whatever flags that we care about you. And then July 1st happens and all of that stuff gets taken down. Do you guys think that companies, corporations actually care about individuals? Do you think that presidents actually care about the people? No, they are running for a position in office to achieve power, not because they actually care about anything that's going on. You want to know how we find out who really cares about the people? Make the president's salary minimum wage. Make the president's salary minimum wage, and we'll see who wants to do the position. We'll see who wants to sit in that chair. If we do that, maybe not minimum wage, you have to live, but cut their salary. Let them live in the White House, give them secret security, but cut that salary down, and we'll see how many people
made this initial tweet. I had seen that no one was seriously injured in the shooting today. Knowing now that 2 died, I regret using flippant language, but I do believe it is wrong to speculate about the political implications of an assassination attempt. By the way, they're saying 2 people died. One of them was the shooter, by the way. And they're seemingly expressing some sort of sympathy for that. That's very interesting. But yeah, in reaction to all this, they have privated their account like everyone else does in these situations. They say the most out-of-pocket stuff on Twitter, and the second they receive any criticism, they immediately run and hide. So now we're going to move on to the next section of this video, the games journalist who had to say something about this situation, and it probably doesn't surprise you to see these familiar faces like Alyssa Mercante from Kotaku, who had this initially to say, making jokes about the shooter, and Mark Kern saying, "Did you tweet and delete these?" tagging her on Twitter right here. And the funny thing is, I don't have an issue with these particular...
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually kind of jokes. That's actually kind of funny that you put a stormtrooper, because it's not like saying, oh, the aim better or whatever. It's like, oh, yo, the shooter, it's a stormtrooper. So I don't really have a problem with this, but I'm sure that he's going to tell me why I should have
she's
a
making
problem.
fun of the shooter, which is totally fair game, but I think it's more funny because they would start tweeting and then immediately change course, as Mark Kern would point out. They would make a few tweets on the situation and all of a sudden delete everything, and then instead of actually tweeting, they would just spam retweets, basically sharing their thoughts through other people to, I guess, avoid getting criticism themselves. Sharing stuff like this, saying, the dumbass who stared longingly into the sun during an eclipse stood up out of the Secret Service's protection for a photo op without knowing there were more shooters. And that is just complete misinformation. At that point, they knew the threat was neutralized. And when he put his fist up in the air, that was just to defy everything that was going on and to show strength. And I think it's really funny that Twitter people like this must think it's staged for someone to show toughness and bravery. They think it must be some sort of a dumb decision or something that's staged.
Trump pretty much won the election with that pose. I feel like the fact that he survived and then didn't cower, right? Because one of the big issues is that Biden is incompetent. He's old, his faculties are not working. He's a sack of flesh holding a pile of bones together. And then you have Trump, who's relatively close in age to Biden, gets shot, and instead of cowering, running away, he stands back up, makes a pose. Just because of that, a bunch of people that were on the fence are gonna vote for Trump. A bunch of people that are not politically educated are gonna vote for Trump. And a bunch of people, myself, I don't live in the US, so I won't be voting, are gonna vote because they think it's funny, right? It's like, damn, I can't believe he did that. I'm gonna vote for him. Why? Because I think it's jokes. Mind you, I don't live in the US, so I don't really know about, I don't know about their policies and what they're doing. So it would be a very uneducated vote, but a lot of people are going to do it just for the lulz, or just because he didn't cower, which makes him look significantly more competent than Biden. And that pose is going to win him the election. Guaranteed. That's where we're going to end it today. What do you think? Do you think that there's no point in Biden running anymore? Trump's got it in the bag? So let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, don't forget that subscribe, because we're on the road to 400. If you don't want to help, well, remember, at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Light up 6 torches.